Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is the Papa Joe Patreon show where Papa Joe knows. I'm your host, Papa Joe. I am joined with Sharon today. We are going to go over we're going to continue on with our hidden or
Mm,
suppressed history episodes, which we have uncovered a lot of crazy stuff. Very, I would say, providentially uncovered a lot of
mhm.
crazy stuff. So today we're going to dig into a bunch of stuff, but just real quick update for everyone. Sorry about last week. I ended up with some dental problems that kind of really made it difficult to talk. So all that's kind of fixed now. If I start to sound funny, it's just stuff going on there. So I do apologize in advance. But anyways, Sharon, I've babbled enough. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Sorry to hear about your tooth. Ow.
It was I don't know, just like a defect in my gums, and the dentist was checking it out and stuck this stupid metal thing in there and didn't tell me he was doing it. It was just like one of those like immediate shock even up into the brain kind of thing. I was like, okay, we're done.
Ow. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Oh gosh.
anyways, so yeah,
There you
what
go.
we're gonna talk about today, we kind of looked at this a little bit. We're
Oh
gonna
my
dig a lot
gosh.
more into this new stuff that they are uncovering. The hospitalers,
Mhm.
not uncovering, they're building out that gold back cryptocurrency stuff that we talked about in the past. I'm curious to see. I haven't had a chance to dig into this. You have, so
Mhm.
point me where to go. We will go uncover that and have a conversation about it. And I think there's other stuff you mentioned as well.
Yeah. So why don't we just go to the World Sovereign Bank Order of Hospitalers and just go to their main page because you can see that they're building more out. So you can see now they're adding in their social media, their global social media. But
Yeah, I don't know
notice,
what that one is. I've never
oh,
seen that
that
one. I've never seen that one.
okay. I think the triangle one is raw video. That is their raw video.
Oh, English? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool. I got some more stuff to dig into here.
Yeah,
Sweet.
so this is getting really cool. So you have the Ruske, I think is how you say it, Ruske site.
This is like
Hopefully,
a Twitter. That's crazy cool. Sorry.
yeah, and it's all their videos. Hopefully there's some auto translate for us. Um,
So I know how to do that. That's I could tell you how to do that later. But anyways, this
so
is cool.
what's this is very cool. The new golden era in banking. So we are hitting this golden era. And we'll get into what the golden era, because golden being the sun, the rays of the sun. So this is going into a lot of ancient prophecies, and this is a global thing. This isn't just over here, over here. It's really amazing. And so as we look at the header on International or World Sovereign Bank, we can see they actually built out their crypto page now, XAU.
Right here. They have world banks, regions, all this other stuff. I haven't checked some of those out in a few weeks, but this one is straight up new.
That's
Where they,
new.
yeah,
Now
how to
what's
buy the crypto,
But
right?
what's interesting, scroll back up to where they're holding the little phone, is important. Read this all the way through because as it is highlighted, it's in gold. State authorities and local government bodies do not have the right to interfere in the economic, financial, and other activities of share consumer cooperative societies and unions, meaning people coming together and saying, this is what we decide. Remember, for the people, by the people, of the people.
Yep.
The
Yep.
people decide their currency, not a governing body, not a corporate governing body. It's the people. And so they're going in
So
as a member of the World Sovereign Union of Cooperation, like Great Russia. Now, it's important to remember WSUCLGR, World
okay.
Sovereign Union of Cooperation, cooperation, meaning that
Sure.
everyone's working together. Like
Right. And then
Russia.
LGR, like Great Russia. Okay.
Okay, now it's important to remember that, like Great Russia, United Soviet Socialist Republics is the original union of peoples, like the Republic of the United States. The Russian
So
Federation is
this is
corporate.
everything. Yeah, the USSR was not what it is today or what people say it is today. It never was. It was never
Mhm,
meant to be this. It was hijacked. Just like
mhm,
everything else that we know has been hijacked. Our banking system, everything. It's not.
exactly.
Yeah.
So here they
Sorry, go ahead.
all your money and cryptocurrency transfers sent to your personal account in the World Sovereign Bank of the Order of Hospitallers are your share contributions and your share and valuable property of the sovereign legal field. Namely, such payments, their volume, fund history, and other parameters cannot be blocked and are subject to any compliance checks. So it can't be
Crazy. It's
blocked.
interesting. This
So
is
do
just
we
interesting here too, where it
Mhm.
talks about uh which are not regulated and will not be regulated from the position
Roman and
Roman
Admiralty
and
law.
Admiralty law. Sorry, my camera was covering it.
That's okay. But when we know Roman and Admiralty law is the laurel wreath, okay, that
Yeah.
lets you know that
Mm-hmm.
that's Roman. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So when we scroll down through this, and I encourage y'all go to this site and really dig into it. So they're telling you the benefits of crypto gold. Okay, unlike destructive fiat cryptocurrencies, destructive fiat cryptocurrencies. So this is going to be, they're going to start splitting hairs, is my hunch. Okay.
Yeah, they probably are, and that's kind of the thing. Like I mentioned last time, I had Bitcoin not been created, this wouldn't happen, and they really think they need to go in and allow those those bridges. And I know that they're talking somewhere. I saw it with USDT, and I'm like, that's like the dumbest one to do because it's like it's not backed by anything. Not that the fiat currency is or anything like that, but there's no mining behind it. At least do the ones that are mineable. Make that more. Anyways, I'll get. I'll stop with that part. But
Well, I did some
go
digging
ahead.
on that piece. All right.
Okay.
So, and this is challenging to read, but it goes into the law of the sovereign and the international norms of law
Sorry.
on share consumer cooperative societies and unions prohibits the accounting and settlement center of the World Sovereign Union Cooperation like Great Russia, the Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One, and the settlement and banking center of the USUC LGR under the Treasury of the US, the WSU. So that's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful. Yep.
And World Sovereign Bank from disclose. This is important. This is how sovereign everything is with this bank. From disclosing and transmitting any information about the sovereign share ownership of the members of the World Sovereign Union Cooperation like Great Russia to third parties without written permission or instructions from the member.
Wow. So they can't unless you give them explicit permission.
Nobody.
They're not. No one can know anything about it.
Nope,
Wow.
because you are sovereign. You are divinely created and your
So if you go
economic
set up an
energy.
account, like
Mhm.
if you set this account here, which truthfully I haven't yet, you I need to find. I guess I probably should figure that out because if you can do direct deposits and it goes from fiat to gold or fiat to this crypto or whatever,
Mhm.
that's a very different type of a discussion because you'll actually have purchasing power,
Oh, imagine that.
especially with especially with what just happened, like Evergrande. Anyone following that? I mean, the entire global banking system is about to completely fall out of the sky, and this is all a little too providentially aligned for timing on that 11th hour kind of thing. It's just
Shall
kind
I
of,
continue?
yes, please, if you don't mind, go right for it.
According to the cone of creation, the use by you and your, and this is in capital, so styles is important. Y'all go and research writing styles. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is capitalized, reliable, secured, sovereign, mutual funds in any necessary transaction is not subject to restrictions because share property is in capital absolutely pure monetary and financial asset in the entire world space.
Interesting. Okay.
All right. Energy cannot
Huh.
be created nor destroyed. You can only store so much of it. We clarify that crypto XAU, which is AXM, is absolutely legal, absolutely secured by the World Reserve Banking Currency, MOM1, which is banking gold, the golden dollar, and therefore systemic balance sheet banking gold stable at the rate of 1 AXM equals 1 golden dollar, 1 gram of balance system banking gold, which allows you to reliably save your financial value. Now, notice those are all capitalized. Okay.
Very specific choice of words there, guys.
Exactly. From financial crisis, inflation, falling values of fiat currencies, falling rates of fiat cryptocurrencies, and other dangerous elements of the aggressive financial environment at the time of the global financial crisis and transition period of the world financial system to the gold standard. Okay? Be smart, do good, keep your honestly received energies of gratitude. This is an important statement. And I say this because of the life coaching that I do at the clinic. And everybody's, oh, fill out your gratitude journal. Oh, the attitude of gratitude, blah, blah,
It's
blah,
not.
blah.
No,
Okay.
this is.
This
I
is
think
it.
I just read it. That doesn't mean I think what it means. It mean.
Energies of gratitude, which is financial, because when you do service to another and someone tips you, it's like, hey, I am giving you financial energy back. It's gratitude in a reliable and indestructible gold standard.
So that's interesting. I also wonder if that has to do with whatever's supposed to come down the pipe. People will probably look at that and go, oh, that's Nasara, or something maybe like that. It's like, no, 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 no,
No,
no.
no.
You've been fooled. The wool's been
Mm-hmm.
put over your eyes. You didn't know
Mm-hmm.
any of this stuff. They're going to set it right. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe you'll get a handful of money, but keep it in freaking gold standard is what they're saying, I think.
Now they
Or they may say what you have will be flipped to that and keep it here, or or you're in trouble, kind of thing. I guess I don't know.
they
You
did
can't get it back.
well, they did speak specifically to the whole Nasara Jasara, and that
Yep.
was basically a ploy in the game
Yep.
of the gods.
They did. Yep.
All right, they spelled that out in the earlier resolutions. So y'all that are caught up in the
Go look at
Nasara,
this.
go read them.
Go
These
read all.
people,
There's a whole lot of documents. If you're whether
Mhm.
honestly, I don't really care if you like to read or not. This is that important. You need to read it. It's like it's if I wouldn't say it's like reading the whole Bible or whatever, but y'all gotta understand.
Mhm.
For the if I really think these guys are legit what they're doing. If this is in fact the path which where everything's going, and it really looks like it is, especially with everything else that's been going on, y'all gotta know what's happening here. I still haven't even been able to finish reading all this stuff. It's that important though. Every chance I get, I'm reading it. But I digress. We'll go back here.
And it's important to go back and reread them because each time as something an event takes place is that they take on a deeper and really broader meaning. So
This
these
is helpful.
they got their videos on how to do this. They are doing everything they can to aid light, bright humanity into come on over here. We're going to make this right. And look at what they say. We don't do business. We are fulfilling a sacred mission as a result of which the following must be constantly present in your life and in your home: love, warmth, harmony, prosperity, and stability, as well as blessed calm and full confidence in tomorrow and the future. That statement right there is really important. And I encourage everyone to really take that to heart, because with all of this doom and, oh, we're going to set everybody's hair on fire, we're going to get you in panic, and we're going to get you all doing this and all doing that. They're saying, hey, we're going to make this right. Is there going to be some collateral damage? Hopefully they're doing everything they can to minimize it.
Yeah. We'll see.
But
I don't know.
love each other, love the whole world. May the all eternal fire shine in your heart with love and the omnipotence of the almighty lineage.
It's very interesting that they put that in there. The almighty lineage. That's, that's the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, right? I mean,
it's the all God, all creator, all light humanity that they go into in that litany. It is all of creation. All of creation. The lineage of God's children.
Which is where, if you go back and read, we talked about Ingersoll Lockwood and the, researcher study or whatever he talks about, big one there is the Book of Enoch. If anyone reads that book, you'll recognize there's a lot of reasons that was removed out of the Bible. It was part of it once.
Mm-hmm.
You also recognize that there are things. Who took it out? Why did they take it out? Understand those things. This all ties together. It ties back to why the earth was flooded. And here we go again. This type of stuff here right now. You're looking at this.
Mm-hmm.
Creation was corrupted. And here's yet another chance or another reset, almost like a flood, to reset. And this is kind of like a digital version of financial arc, I guess you could say. Let's get out of the storm that's about to happen from a financial Armageddon. I don't think it'll be. I mean, there may be some kinetic problems, but I really think that if this actually flips over into something like this, and people are like, "Oh, wait a minute, I can actually." It's way cheaper to buy things now because I don't have to have as much. Your money goes further. You're free. This sovereignty stuff that they're talking about here, y'all. When some of you get it, some people may not yet, and that's okay. You understand that part, the sovereignty piece, that takes you back to you and your creator, and that's it. And there's the commerce. There's the things you do with each other. It's just, I don't know. I'm processing and thinking out loud here. This is making me kind of go,
Yeah,
like
there's
I said
a lot
before,
here.
I haven't seen some of this stuff yet.
It's okay. But in the Book of Enoch, too, one of the books is called the Book of the Heavenly Luminaries. So there's a lot in Enoch, and Ingersoll Lockwood, because that's where I printed this off from, so it was just easier. And Ingersoll Lockwood
literally made a book, y'all.
That's how I organized my office. And Ingersoll Lockwood put there are at least 17 books removed from the Bible by the rewriters of history. Let us begin with Enoch, and they put the date 1/17/2022. So this is just handy because it's like, oh, I just flip it out and then I start reading instead of, because I like to hold on to things.
What was it that was? I saw it here a minute ago. The date, I think, on this transfer confirmation. Was it this one?
You should pull it up.
No, that was 110.
Yeah.
That was 110. It was this one. No, that was also 110. We'll get into that in a minute. Is it this guy? That's the 13th of December. It's this one, 44.
That's what we want to show them.
1/17/2024.
Yeah.
So we can get into that if you want to. I don't know where you want to go from here.
Why don't we? Because this one
Oh
really
wait,
gets
I'm
into.
looking at it and I'm not sharing. Oh my word! I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
sharing my
okay.
screen.
I was kind of like, I need to see it
Like, hello,
over here.
hello.
So,
Sorry,
all
y'all.
right, no, it's okay. It's just been kind of a long day.
Sleep has been really, really negative for me. So that's this stupid thing. Every time I roll over, it's like, ow. So, anyways,
Gosh. So let's go into resolution number 44 because
44.
42-1 got updated with the cryptos. So
Yep.
this one, which dropped just a week ago, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now it starts out, if you notice, there's 3 seals on this one.
Yep.
Okay.
Very,
Now
very interesting.
that's
I didn't know.
important.
I did notice. I was like, what's the third? There's only
Okay.
ever one before.
But it's on the bottom. It's not home anymore. It's 3 different types of swirls. But we'll go into that. So the beginning starts out much like the rest of the documents. So they're keeping their litany very clean for the official, here we go. We're going to start each document and we're going to be getting into that. And so, same thing in the beginning, by God's grace, by right of the supreme sovereign. So they're really getting this pattern, the supreme sovereign, in execution of the right of the sovereign and norms of international law. So you get used to hearing it. Think of what Mockingbird Media does. Rabble, rabble. They just keep going. In these documents, you get to read this over and over, and you're like, oh, I got to read this again. But it's really important because it's actually saying, hey, all right, because when they do this in fulfillment of the sacred mission to overcome the world financial crisis, prevent a third world nuclear war, eliminate the destructive, toxic, and dysfunctional debt, fiat financial system, and in fulfillment of the creation of a bright world financial system based on heavenly principles and the gold standard, namely the sacred spiritual gold treasure, Ra, which is God's trust. God.
Right, which you cover that in other shows.
And it is in the previous resolutions and decrees.
Yep.
All right. For serving light humanity in its development and prosperity according to the divine law of creation and creation of a light creative world based on the heavenly principles of democracy, justice, love, and harmony for the creative, spiritual, and divine development of light humanity in universal love and harmony with all that is and with all that is, which it should be not because it's the null, not null, it's a null set, okay, for the glory of the highest kind. Okay.
This is interesting, though. Like, I was noticing here. I just want to point this out. This is, I guess, a data point. Prevent a third world nuclear war. We've never had a nuclear war other than when we dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and is it Nagasaki?
Yeah.
Now
there's
the
a
thing
theory.
is, though, is like that was no one else retaliated. There was not an exchange. It was just that was it. So I mean, does that count as that? The First World War didn't exist with nuclear weapons that we're aware of. I don't know. That just kind of makes me go back of the head. Go, what did we miss somewhere?
Well,
and you're like, yeah, I know.
There's a theory that someone
really
presented to me that because there's different theories and archaeology things that Africa was quite the lush rainforest, not this desert, barren, Saharan kind of thing. And that something took place that just decimated it and turned it into a sand pit.
Okay. It's interesting that you bring up Africa and the nuclear war. Did you know that in Africa is a natural nuclear power plant?
Imagine that.
It is cooled by river water and it is generating energy by itself as it is nuclear. Like I'm kind of like, is it natural though? Because
Does
that's
Black
interesting. You
Panther
bring that
make
up.
sense to anybody?
Yeah, right. Anyways,
I digress.
I was gonna say, wow, that I mean, we have the technology. And people don't even know about it. I've never seen it to that
How
scale,
would
but
they
I
come
wouldn't be
okay, but think
surprised.
about that. How would they come up with a movie like that underground showing all this crazy cool science stuff? Just I don't know, food for thought, y'all.
Yep.
So,
Anyways, there you go. Sorry.
yeah, we both squirrel.
Squirreled.
So, in execution of the of Resolution 13, and so they will go through this on the
Mhm.
State Bank of the USSR. Again, USSR is vastly different from the Russian Federation and all
Very.
other legal sovereign international acts of the sovereign international treasury monetary one by the right of the absolute owner and chief regulator of the entire world financial system by the right of the absolute owner and manager of all world assets in the entire world on the basis of exclusive historical right from the creator of the new era.
People don't need to just pause you for a second.
Mhm.
Exclusive historical right. They're basically telling you that they have birthright access, not access, but controlling interest or whatever. They are in charge of this stuff because they have that is their birthright. The
Mm.
whole Knights Templar thing, you've got to understand. Historically speaking, their jobs were to protect the global
Mhm.
economy and the global financial system. And the other thing that was tacked on there, I don't know if it was initial, but it was definitely done later, was the global what I guess religions or the spiritual well-being of humanity, I guess. That part I'm a
Right.
little fuzzy on, but the other stuff
Okay.
has been made very clear.
Right. So it's been so convoluted because, and now we have centuries of all this distortion
Hmm.
that it was the spirituality, the spiritual nature of humankind rather than organized religion. And this is where it could get,
Yeah,
a
no
little
organized
twisted
religion.
here
Yeah, go, I'll finish what you're saying.
because that is a business structure.
Yeah,
Spirituality.
501c3. Heard that
Mhm,
one? Yeah,
mhm. Spirituality has never been a business structure. And I know this because I've worked with different over my time on this journey here
sure.
is that they work with you. You when you find your master or elder or they find you, there is no business structure. It is a
Right. It is
spiritual.
nothing. Right.
Exactly. It's very spiritual. And they were looking out for the spirituality of the individual, the family, the community, all light, bright humanity.
Right.
Now,
People need
and
to understand these guys mean what that means. When we're talking through this stuff, y'all just pay attention to as we read these documents to you guys, or you go read them yourselves. Just pay attention to the specific wording and how they're very focused on not just the monetary aspect of it. Yes, that's a big part of this, but they're very focused on your personal individual sovereignty and your family sovereignty, yours and your family's well being. It's not about the money, it's about you and humanity over in general are able to prosper and develop and build and move on from these constructs. And I would say this type of slavery we've been under for the past, what, 1,000 years it's been. I don't know what year is it. 2,000 years since it was been. What was it,
it's been around for a long time.
900, huh?
Yeah. They
980. Yeah,
they talk about the Knight of
technically it
Sada.
was longer than that.
Mhm.
It was longer than that because one of the things Jesus was here on earth giving the scribes, Pharisees, and Sadducees a hard time because of what they were doing. They were political groups. They weren't religious groups. They were using the guise of religion, kind of
Mhm.
like the Catholic Church. Where do you think that sounds familiar? Go back and look at the history. I'm going to digress right there and let you continue.
So it's
Sorry.
okay.
I will go down that rabbit hole anyways. Sorry.
Well, we'll kind of help you a little bit there. Based on criminal international financial activities, including on the basis of the fact of a crime in relation to violations of the International Sovereign Legal Act. So there are legal acts on the books that have
I
been
think they list them
broken.
here, don't they?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Of the sovereign international treasury monetary one, and it goes through the resolutions
Mm-hmm.
and sovereign decrees on the ban of fiat cryptocurrencies. Now, this is important because everyone's like, oh my God, rah, they're banning cryptos. No, the fiat cryptocurrencies. And they list the resolutions here. It's important to really become aware of these. Also, taking into account the fact of joint criminal activity with a prohibited terrorist organization, the Central Bank of the Russian Federation. Okay, now that's the.
Wait, read that again.
Here we go. Also, taking into account the fact of joint criminal activity with a prohibited terrorist organization, the Central Bank of the Russian Federation. That's the corporation of Russia.
Right.
Okay.
So people need to understand real quick. The central banks, in the way they were set up, in the way they took control, there's a reason there's a city-state called Washington, D.C. that is not part of our country. That's why it has the Federal Reserve in it. It is a captured entity. The nation, by them being here as such, that is them capturing the country. That is them. We own this now. That is part of how the banking systems are designed. People don't understand that. The Federal Reserve and all the other banking systems, the Russian, what was it? I lost it. Whatever. Understand that is how they control this. That is the corporation. That in and of itself is the corporation. It's every time I talk to people and they kind of look at me cockeyed and goofy like I'm crazy. I'm like, no, everything ties back to the banks. Everything ties back to the banks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, everything? I'm like, yeah, your medical, your food, everything ties back to the banks.
There you go.
I digress.
That's okay. The Central Bank of Russia. So you have the Central Bank of the Russian Federation. So we got word salad going on here.
Yep.
The Central Bank of Russia, or Bank of Russia, thereby violating the sovereign legislation of the great sovereign country of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, as well as decree republics, just like we were a republic of republics, republic of states, or states republics, or state republics, something like that. So anyway, back to as well as decree.
Oh my goodness, that just jumped. Sorry, hang on.
It jumped. That's okay. As well as decree SMK M1. It's really weird. So we have other decrees of 13, which was 2022, committing international a crime, namely violating the sovereign international law of the sovereign legislation of the great sovereign country of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. They overran them and they just like, oh, yeah, guess what? You don't exist. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so you see the USSR right there? You get that now? Yeah. Anyways, go ahead.
On the mandatory appeal to the main regulator of the entire banking system of the great sovereign country of the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics throughout the USSR, to the State Bank of the USSR. So you had basically kind of a banking war going on here.
Mm-hmm.
So we go now. I hereby decree, deprive legal. Okay. Deprive legal subjectivity, recognize outside the divine law of creation and outside the law, and declares international criminal terrorist organizations. This is important. I dug into this. You want to talk about some shenanigans, people?
Holy cow.
This is huge. This is why Core Company Scientific, Tether Company Limited, Cantor Fitzgerald Bank. Start with Cantor Fitzgerald Bank because they're the largest holders of Tether, which they wouldn't give anything out. Core Scientific Company, guess who they handle?
I can't remember. I want to say it was Bitcoin. Yeah.
Bitcoin. And guess who was built on top of Core Company Scientific was just filed Chapter 11 for reorganization. Imagine that with what's going on here. Tether Company. Guess who owns Tether Company? Start digging on that. You're going to start seeing some cards fall.
Go ahead and say it for the crowd here, so they can know what they're gonna get for, where they're gonna, what to look for, is that way they know that when they find it, they find it.
So when you start with Cantor Fitzgerald Bank, start reading those articles, but it will tie them to the Tether Company Limited, because they had, if from what I'm pulling this off the top of my head, they had the largest holding of Tether. But they would not.
I think they can create it, can they not?
Tether, they were minting it.
So that's the thing about Tether, y'all. In most cryptocurrencies, I'm sorry, I take that back. Most stable coins, they are not a limited supply. They expand and they shrink to maintain value based on the market demand, based off of the necessary need. Ethereum's that way, or it used to be, and people don't even realize that that is the case, where they can burn coins and they can mint coins, and they can do it on a whim. If they want to crash the value, they can just mint a ton. If they want to spike the value, they can burn a ton. Now, those features are designed so that you can maintain stability for everyone. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is not a good thing that it is at the helm of whoever builds the project. Now, something like Bitcoin, it's out and running. It's going. They can adjust the code, but they can't change those features. It is.
Now,
that's something that's very interesting that they're calling out Core Company Scientific. The tie-in, I think, is because Tether, they own Tether, or Tether owns them?
No. They filed for Chapter 11 for reorganization. They got a 30-some, let me see here.
Well, that's just that's the developers, though. That's Bitcoin Core.
Right. They filed for bankruptcy. Okay. And they just did it on the 16th.
I wasn't aware. Well, I was not feeling so great the past couple.
Right. Okay. So they just did it. And so they also had something going on here on January 23rd. So it was just a few days ago. So with what is going on with what WSBOH put here, then what's happening with, because I have the Core Scientific plan of reorganization confirmed by bankruptcy court.
What, Chapter 11?
Which is, yep, they went for Chapter 11. Which is merely a restructuring, but they're restructuring, but they also got a big chunk of money for it.
Well, that might be why they did it. For what it's worth, it is just a bunch of developers, from what I understand. But now, if they went in and bought other stuff and did other things, that could also tie back to FTX and things like that. If I'm not mistaken.
Well, this is saying is one of the largest blockchain computing data center providers and miners of digital assets in North America.
New board of directors. Core Scientific also announces new board of directors
imagine that.
Comprising 6 new independent directors, each of whom brings a wealth of experience relevant to enterprise expertise and fresh perspectives on the company. These directors are Todd Becker, President and Chief Executive Officer of Director of Green Plains, not familiar with that company. Jeff Booth, founder, partner of Ego Death Capital, also not familiar with that one. Oh, look at this. Jordan Levy, managing partner at SBNY, formerly SoftBank Capital New York. Sound familiar, y'all? The C Capital Partners for co-managing partner of Z80 Labs. That Z80 Labs I'm not familiar with. Maybe subconsciously I am. Anyways, Jared Patton, founder, president of Chief Executive Officer of Global Real Estate Advisory Firm RRG, director of MicroStrategy Incorporated. That doesn't, well, that tie-in makes sense actually with
Michael Saylor.
Michael Saylor. Anyways, I'm not going to try to pronounce that name. Razov, Yadin Razov,
Yadin Razov.
Yeah. A partner of Terrence Edge Ventures, so that is a VC, and then Eric Wise, founder and chief investment officer of Blockchain Investment Group LP and Bitcoin Investment Group LP. Adam Sullivan, president and chief executive officer of Core Scientific. Oh, okay, interesting. All right, yeah, interesting. What was the reason for them doing Chapter 11? Because Chapter
Restructuring is what
11,
they said. Restructuring.
Chapter 11 doesn't always mean financial. Chapter 11 could mean a lot of things. It can mean they want new board of directors. No other board
Well,
of
that's
directors
the
wouldn't allow it.
restructuring.
Yeah.
So you can take and break up. If you
It
have
doesn't.
one company that is similar, that is not doing well, you can break it up and pull it underneath another one. So it was a restructuring for some reason.
They're not Bitcoin Core though, are they? I can't remember if they're the ones who are behind Bitcoin Core. The Bitcoin Core, if I'm not mistaken, they're the developers. I'm gonna get a little nerdy on y'all. Hang on. So this is where if you want to learn how to run a Bitcoin node, you pull this down and you install it on a server somewhere. Where is the... You know what? I'm gonna look at this later, but
so it's
I
worth digging
curious.
into because there's stuff that's happening. And
so Bitcoin Core, these are the core developers of the Bitcoin ecosystem. Core Scientific is one of the largest Bitcoin miners of North America. That is a mining company. Let's go back to the other document here. They're specifically calling Core Company Scientific, which is not... Is it Core Scientific or is it a different? Are they're just wording with their litany wrong?
It could be because of translation.
Okay. Well, okay. Let's get back to the document and read it, and I'm going to look at that in a little bit. So this is what I do with my brain. Goes, what's this? Like, we found this because my brain went, wait. Let's go look at this. Anyway,
so
I'm just making sure that it's not the... Yeah.
Right. And so there is some things here to unravel because remember, everything is like a shell game here.
Sure.
And so
Tether Company Limited makes sense. Cantor Fitzgerald Bank. I never actually looked into them.
They, from what I have found, are the largest holders of Tether.
Okay.
So this is what
I've never really cared about Tether for what it's worth. I mean, you got CBD, you got what is it? What's the other one? I say CBDC, USDC. Yeah, that one is a Circle. Was it Circle? I think. Or yeah, I think it's Circle. Y'all keep me honest on that. Sorry. Tether and USDC, those are the two main US tied or US pegged, US dollar pegged stable coins. The reason being is so you can get in and out and save your value effectively. When the banks died, go ahead.
Cantor Fitzgerald, from what I found, it's a financial services firm that was founded in 1945 here in the United States.
Okay. And
banking division is the leading provider of advisory and capital markets to market services to corporate and financial.
They're market makers.
Yeah, and then there was something I came across that they were also the largest holders of Tether, or Tether assets.
Right.
Okay.
All right. I'll take a look at that. I'll take a look at... Oh, maybe they're what's backing, or whatever they're holding, the bonds, whatever they're behind them is what's backing Tether, and where they can mint the coins, so to speak.
Well, either way,
that ties to the dollar, whatever it is.
These people are gunning for them. So
Have
Bank.
at it. Go back to it.
Okay, so we have Core Company Scientific, Tether Company Limited, Cantor Fitzgerald Bank of all their owners, participants, organizers, accomplices, and satellites, as well as all family members of owners, members, participants, organizers, their accomplices, and satellites throughout the history of their existence. So Cantor Fitzgerald Bank, founded in 1945. They're going back that far, kids. All
Mhm.
and anyone involved with them. All specialized subjects of law to immediately begin a criminal investigation with criminal and spiritual liability with the full rigor of the law, the letter of the law, and international criminal law for international criminal terrorist organizations of their owners, participants, organizers, accomplices, and satellites, as well as all members, families of owners, members, participants, organizers, their accomplices, and satellites who have been conducting their criminal activities for a long time.
That sounds
Oh,
really, really harsh. Because not only harsh, but like, good grief. Like, I have a company, my company. Yikes. Like,
that means everyone associated with you, your family, in the company, everything, because they're all guilty by association, which is, I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna get, it's basically, it's time to clean house.
yeah,
Okay.
like, what about the good people trapped in a bad system, or those who are oblivious to even how this stuff works? Like, there are certain family members for me that are like, I don't even know what this stuff is, but because they know me or related to me, if I screw up or something like that, they're in trouble. That doesn't make sense. Just saying. To talk about justice and everything, it's like that. Anyways,
That's why there's
I'll leave that one alone.
repentance.
Fair enough. That's a good point. I'll leave that one. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
All types of assets and any property belonging to international terrorist organizations. So they're labeling them as international terrorist
Terrorist.
organizations
So
because
the
they are,
mining company for
yep,
Bitcoin,
yep,
Tether company,
yep,
and then the
yep,
freaking bank for Fitzgerald. Why
yep.
specifically Fitzgerald? There are other banks and other asset holders here that are just as. Keep going. I'm asking questions probably before we even get there.
A little bit.
I connect
Their
that.
owners, participants, organizers, accomplices, and satellites, as well as all family members of owners, members, participants, organizers, their accomplices, and satellites, are subject to immediate confiscation.
So this goes back to the EO, doesn't it?
This is 1945, and it's prior to 1945. Because remember, the Bolsheviks were, Woodrow Wilson helped the Bolsheviks get over there. He gave Trotsky his passport back.
Yes, I remember that. We talked
Mhm.
about that at one point. This is being really choppy, and I'm really sorry. Just bear
So
with me.
it's incredible. So it goes into it's the litany that they'll repeat again, and crediting to the balance sheet of the Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One with subsequent distribution and use for development of programs and projects of bright humanity. So anything that was taken to hooray for me and heck with you, they're gonna go, no, 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 no. You're done. You're DONN, as my friend would say. DONN done. I know, it's really cute. Somebody's little boy was like, I'm DONN done. We're like, that's a good one. We actually like that.
I love it. That's
So,
awesome. I love it.
yeah. So, in execution of this decree, and here again, they go into the same litany as they do in all their other documents when they say in execution of this decree.
And y'all can read this if you want to. It's on the screen, but we've covered it many times in the other shows. So go back and watch those other shows if you want to hear us say it to you or need it or anything like that. So,
Mhm.
but yep,
But
it's
their
all the same.
goal,
Nothing's different.
nope, it's all the same. All the seals are the same. So we can scroll all the way down.
If it'll scroll.
Oh, I'm
Pain in the
sorry.
butt.
What we got?
It's not scroll. Well, it's because it's
Oh.
painting and it's pulling the actual document. And because the documents are locked, I can't even highlight things. I can't write. Well, I can right click on it now. I can save it as an image now. That's different. It
Oh,
was like
that
locked
is.
down before.
Oh, they're wanting this up. Now we notice that they have the
Print.
3
Create a
circles.
QR code for this page? That's new. Wow. Sorry. Go ahead. I
So
am
they're
squirrely tonight, y'all.
oh my gosh, you are. So they're going into how they're recommending to conduct a self-organization procedure in their country in order to manifest the supreme people's power of the sovereign and return the sovereign status of their motherland for a light, peaceful, and creative development in universal love and friendship throughout the world. The Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One recommends a competent and light approach to the issue of self-organization at the system level.
Hold the phone.
Mhm.
Remember what, I don't say it here. Remember what we talked about prior to the show?
Mhm.
That just gave me an idea. Keep
Mm.
going.
The Sovereign International Treasury Monetary One wishes all countries, all clans and tribes, all nations of the world, of all bright humanity, the speedy restoration of their bright home under the sovereign flag and the sacred name Motherland in the universal creative construction of our bright world as the universal native temple. Now, I have a book where they go into, oh, Solomon's temple. Well, it kind of got ran together, and it's really the soul of man's temple here. Okay. So the Universal Native Temple. Sovereign National Treasury Monetary One firmly confirms its statement and in the future to impartially and correctly fulfill its light mission to restore justice and build the all light, all heavenly system, which should and will faithfully serve the bright humanity and consequently all God, all Creator, all creative family of the Supreme as the one all heavenly, all to God, all to the Creator, all creative of all existing and all non existent in the creation of all light, all great, all heavenly. And there they have the 3 spirals instead of Om.
Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, maybe?
Nope, they're going with their 3 seals. They have 3 seals above and they have 3 down below. So we're
We have a lot
definitely
more than 3 down below.
no, the 3 where the Om would be. So now they put the Om down
Oh.
here.
We put the down
Okay.
here.
So they put something else. So now they've got a lot more seals. So
This is all very intriguing.
so now that they've named Cantor Fitzgerald Bank, there's going to be ties into that one that are going to just start really unraveling some things, but we're going to start seeing things in the mainstream media with a lot of rabble.
I'm going to look something up real quick. And let's see here. Stand by. I am curious about something and I don't want to. Hey, just in case something pops up. Hang on. Humans here. And here. Hold on, bear with me, y'all. I know this is a show, and you can skip through until you find what I'm gonna do. Hang on, I'm sorry. hang on. Almost there. I curious. Go here, not there. Hang on, I have an AI doing something for me. All right, that did not give me what I wanted. One more second, y'all.
can put a little notation. So right around 52 minutes, just speed through.
I'm really sorry, y'all.
He is totally
my
swirling off on stuff tonight.
my brain's doing some. Okay, y'all.
Oh my gosh.
All right. I'm sorry. This is the way my brain. You know, this happens
Oh,
very
I
rarely. It's
know
happened
it.
a few times, and y'all have been in the shows and you've seen these
It's
things,
just
and I'm
like,
like, okay,
okay,
here you
so
go.
did you find it?
Yeah, maybe. Hang on, actually, I may have
Okay,
actually.
well, I'm going to kind of talk about gold a little bit. So there's this really cool book that, oh, can we see it? Yeah, The Tree of Life. And so they talk about.
Never mind. I was trying to see if they actually tied back to Evergrande. That would have made things very unique about what just happened.
Oh, I think there's so many threads out there that we're going to be distracted. But this is going back to the older stuff, much like Resolution 4 talks about all the bonds. All right, the bonds that are being held, and they're unraveling something that's much older.
So that's why I was trying to connect those dots, because the bond market is going to fall out of the sky because of Evergrande. Because of everything tied back to the real estate that Evergrande owns. People don't understand how, and that's, for what it's worth, that's not even the biggest one. That's the tip of the iceberg. That's the beginning of the contagion. That's the main problem. That's not China's economy. That's the world economy. People don't even get that. They had like 7 theme parks they were building. They had ghost cities they were building. They were just that they're now demolishing because they can't do anything about them. They can't build them. They can't pay the people to pay. Oh, I covered this on the show. Those of you been with me for a long time. I had shows 2 years ago talking about this stuff with Evergrande. The reason I'm talking about it so much right now is because these guys have access to these bonds. The hospitalers, they own the ancient bonds.
They're pulling them back. They're taking them
And
back.
they're pulling them back, and they're taking control. And that's the thing that I think is why all of a sudden now you see this happening. You see the Iraqi dinar. People want to know about that, right? We've not covered it because I personally haven't dug into that, right? I haven't done enough research to adequately explain maybe what's going on there. I think Sharon, you may have a little bit, but like just run on the safe side here. Okay, if you want to talk about it, you're welcome to. But like, it's tying back to a gold standard. People, that's what they're doing, and that's why the revaluation and all that stuff people keep talking about. But they're going to have their own little thing in their own little world, kind of like what we just talked about. Have the collective together, your own little, cooperation kind of thing going, and getting yourself outside of the system by standing up and getting out of the old system and doing now into a gold-backed currency, a gold-backed sovereign currency. And I'm going to leave it there and let Sharon talk about the gold she was talking about a minute ago, because I'm going to squirrel again.
Well,
I'm in a mood tonight, man. I'm so sorry, y'all.
So. We'll just go with it. It's fine. So one of the things is, like, when they're talking about gold, and now we have all this weird stuff going on, but in this particular book that I have, The Tree of Life, which is by Dr. George Carey. This was originally published in 1917. And so they talk about, and I'm just going to jump into it. Alchemy, however, in its broader scope, means the science of solar rays. Gold may be traced to the sun's rays. The word gold means solar essence. The transmutation of gold does not mean the process of making gold, but does mean the process of changing gold, solar rays, into all manner of materialized forms, vegetable, mineral, etc. The ancient alchemists studied the process of nature in her operations from the volatile to the fixed, the fluid to the solid, the essence to the substance, or the abstract to the concrete, all of which may be summed up in the changing spirit into matter. In reality, the alchemist did not try to do anything. He simply tried to search out nature's processes in order that he might comprehend her marvelous operations. So base metals simply means matter, or basic. The dissolving or disintegration of matter, the combustion of wood or coal, seemed as wonderful to these philosophers as the growth of wood or formation of coal or stone. So the transmutation,
Water, coal,
coal, this coal, food, okay,
Okay.
or
Good.
stone. So the transmutation of base metals into gold simply meant the process of changing the fixed into the volatile or the dematerialization of matter either by heat or chemical process. So when we think of gold in the sun's rays,
Interesting. You and I have mentioned, maybe I mentioned it before. I don't know if I have or not on the show here.
Mhm.
Um, was it the Incans or the Mayans? I can't remember which one. When they
Incas,
found the pyramids,
yeah.
underneath those pyramids were pools of mercury.
Hmm.
When in recent scientific years, if you electrify mercury at the appropriate frequency with the appropriate joules or whatever,
Hmm.
it turns to 24 karat gold.
Imagine that.
And what you just described is kind of like energy, electricity, the sun, energy. Like, oh, that what frequencies did they know about that we've been stolen from us? What has been stolen from us, from humanity, being able to say, in the name of making somebody else wealthy, or in the name of I'm gonna get back to it down to Dagon Book of Enoch, because it goes back to these guys.
Hmm.
I'm
Hmm.
telling you, there's two things. In the
Hmm.
many years I've done all of my research, and I've been digging in places that some can go, most can't go, and anyone who else tries to, you just shouldn't go there. Um, uh, the research that I've looked into this stuff, there's two things: the Book of Enoch and the banking system. The angels that came to Earth and destroyed creation are the same daggum angels, or they're not angels. I guess they would be demonic now, because they've been given over and whatever. They're the same creation or creatures that are behind the problems we have. They're the same creatures that are behind the banking system. They're the same creatures behind all this, the removal of how God gave us as humanity to be able to do things. You know that they think that they found the Ark of the Covenant at one point?
Mhm.
Not the Ark of the Covenant. That was my subconscious remembering something I saw this week. Noah's Ark.
Uh-huh.
My brain, y'all. I don't know what's wrong with me tonight.
They did something to
Whatever.
your tooth that just kind of just went
Yeah.
to the cranial nerves.
I haven't had any pain medication. I mean, or anything like that. I mean, I don't know. I'm just awake right now. My brain is connecting dots. And that's kind of what happens to me at night. It's nighttime here. Sorry. When we're recording, it's nighttime right now.
Mhm.
Anyways. You're just having fun, aren't you?
Oh, totally. I'm just like, we're just doing our usual squirreling here.
Let me remember my train of thought. I'm sorry. Where was I? Okay.
Book of Enoch, because there was the Miami event, and people are like, Miami, what was the Miami event? Oh my gosh.
That was demonic. Whatever. They was covered up for their food sources are gone.
Imagine that.
Okay.
That gets into some Sabrina Wallace stuff, y'all. So go over, check out Sabrina Wallace on Odyssey, the Synergy. Go to the Synergy channel.
I'll say this. Noah's Ark, they think they found it because they found Mount Ararat. They did satellite imagery and things like that. Well, they excavated, they found a lot of stuff. They found metal riveting. There was titanium alloy. They didn't have that kind of metallurgy back then. At least to our knowledge, they didn't.
Exactly.
I don't know. To our knowledge, to our current realm, whatever. People, if I told that someone, that was the thing when that came out. It was like some History Channel thing. I was like, they found titanium alloy deep enough under the surface that it wouldn't have just been dropped by somebody. Like they found a lot of it. I'm like, and timber and like the shape of what the ark's measurements would have been. It's like, okay, you guys, there was way more going on that then. Let me think about the pyramids. How the crap did that get built? There's way more things happening from a technological perspective. And me being a technologist, I'm like, my brain goes all over the place. And these beings stole it. and then they stole your livelihood. They turned the entire world into slavery because of the banking system. And these guys, to some degree, I wonder like where they came from. The Hospitallers, the Knights Templars. Who really are they? Who really were they? You know,
Who
go look
are
into it.
they? General Spodorovich talked about there are those who are not like us.
Yeah.
And they've been walking among us for a long time.
The Bible says something about being hospitable, for you know not whether you're entertaining an angel. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
We actually covered that the past couple weeks. Anyways, I'm gonna digress there. Sharon, go back to where you were. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's
Guys,
all
I am
right.
late.
This is just, it's fine. So, but you're right. They walk among us. They've been walking among us. And so it's because humanity has to wake up from their slumber. It really is kind of matrix-ish or whatever you want to
Matrix. Yeah, sure. I
matrix.
don't think
But I
anybody
tell people you really want to get
is.
a kind of a flavor for what's going on. Just go watch the sci-fi series Fringe. Just go watch
Sure.
Fringe.
I have
The
not.
whole
Many
thing.
people suggested that. I'm like, okay. I watched the trailers. I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
When they really get into it, if you can really get it, because heaven forbid that they give anybody hallucinogenics. Why? Because you're going to start, as Timothy Leary would say, squeegee your third eye.
Mhm.
And you would start expanding your consciousness. You can, in much like what they're showing, that yes, you do kind of walk between worlds, which is really, if you think about
Oh,
computers and everything, yes.
I was to say, my oldest is at that age where I have to rewatch movies that he's interested in because he's interested in them, and I was around his age, and I was like, is it safe yet, kind of thing, maturity level wise. And
Mhm.
one of the things was the stupid Pirates of the Caribbean, and it's at World's End. They dadgum were sailing through snowy, icy, and then they go into a cave in the inner earth. Then they fall off the earth. Anyways, go watch that little scene there, and it kind of makes you go, "Oh wait, the Book of Enoch." That's where my mind went. I was like, "What the that too?" Yeah, exactly. Yes,
Mhm.
that's kind of. I
Terra,
was like,
yeah, the whole
"Whoa,
thing.
wait a minute."
Terra Infinita.
Yes.
So all of this is very much now that we have the world's sovereign bank order of hospitallers saying, y'all, come over here, but you still have your superpower. And this is what I coach people on and what we talk about on my Thursday night groups when people join in. And your superpower is your intention. All right.
Hmm.
Your intention is yours. Everyone has it. And everybody's like, oh, but we have free will. And so I was like, okay, here we go. No, you don't.
You have a choice between God's perfect will for your life and his sovereign will for your life. That's my opinion, at least.
Well, and that's an opinion, but you do have will. Is it free? Absolutely not, because it's always under some sort of constraint. There's some parameters. Your intention is what determine what you are going to will into your life, what you are going to choose. Now, what is your intention behind the choice that you're making? Cut the
Yeah.
Christmas
So,
turkey, go all Chucky on your
yeah,
guests.
right. That's kind of what I was trying to say from I'm more predestination minded. Um, you know, God being the creator, why wouldn't he know? And if he doesn't change, why wouldn't he know what every outcome is going to be in every direction? Giving you the choice of what you just said, or between God's perfect will for your life, which is going to be all hunky dory, everything's going to be great, or his sovereign will for your life, which is you're going to go on this winding path, he's going to beat you over the head a couple times, you're going to learn all this stuff, but you're going to still go back to where you were supposed to be in the first place, had you made the other decision, kind of thing. But anyways, that's how my mind equates it and connects the dots. And anyways, go ahead.
But what if sovereign will is the perfect will? What if perfect will is sovereign will? It's the both and.
Exactly. Exactly. It's kind of like it's the predestination. Like, do you have it or do you not? Like, because like we've talked about this before, an hour is 1,000, or a day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is a day. To God, it's like, and He holds the universe in the palm of His hand. He's outside of time, space, etc. It's like, okay, that's just like wrapping your head around that kind of stuff just kind of makes your head hurt a little bit sometimes. But understanding it and recognizing it is I feel like it, for me at least, it's half the battle. I mean, not everyone's the same, but like that's kind of where my mind goes with it. But I'll digress there.
Well, now let's add in the U.S. debt clock. They have been busy.
Oh yeah.
Busy.
Our special friend has
Our
been
special
grabbing
friend's
some
been
fun
saving
stuff.
those photos for us.
Didn't he like drop the whole
He
thing?
did a whole
to date?
bunch. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me
So
pull it up right
because
now.
the latest one, the one previous to the latest one had Ponzi, Madoff, and then Powell.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now there's this one, and they're really getting into the Kennedy. I mean, Kennedy being on this golden dollar or golden treasury note. So
Who's
you've got
Thomas X?
Thomas. That is the $1 million question, because you got Thomas X.
Edison?
No. It's X. Everything is X. X is the unknown variable. So Thomas X has been on a number of things on the U.S. debt clock. And so here we have Woodrow Wilson with the whole globe behind him, or globalist agenda behind him.
He even stated he regretted signing those stupid documents because he realized what he'd done.
And so you have international money exchangers, which is interesting. And here
all
we
the
have
assets here: gold, silver. All these are assets, asset backed.
natural gas, oil, Wall Street, agriculture,
Energy, free
housing.
energy.
Yep, free energy, housing, mining. All of it.
That's very interesting to me, especially with the other things that I've been previewed to. We talked a little bit about it. Asset-backed digital currencies. There are some starting to actually come on the scene, and to put it bluntly, the people who are doing those now, this isn't Pax Gold. That's a single. These guys. We'll talk about it afterwards. We'll talk about it afterwards.
So
there's some things I don't know what I'm at liberty to say. 1776.
But they specifically put the Kennedy 50-cent piece. I don't think that. Look at the date.
1964. Interesting. For the audience, how does that tie back to you? I'm still processing.
We have to look at what Kennedy was trying to put into place, because he said that there was, what was that, his last speech, that there was a group that was was trying to enslave the American people. Okay.
Yeah.
That speech, I can't recall it offhand. So somebody will go, oh yeah, this one, blah, blah, blah. So
the monolithic thing. Yeah. I know. I know. It's so famous. People use it all the time for all kinds of things. Yeah.
Right. So it's really fascinating. But if you close this, I was like looking at it going, they have 1 barrel of oil equals, pull that up. 1 barrel of oil equals 266.99 watts.
So
oil to solar ratio.
Being an earlier miner, one of the things that has been aware of, and our special friend can for sure talk about this. I thought about going into mining stuff again, and if I can, I will, because it still makes sense. Now, when it comes to the guys doing the gold-backed digital currencies, I need to see those digital currencies. I need to see the blockchains. It can be digital all day long. If it's a blockchain, how is it running? That's it. So there's still that one thing, that catch in the back of my, yes, everything they're doing makes sense legally, the documents, the everything that they're doing, the all the stuff they're doing. Are they using a blockchain? That's not clear. The transactions it's not clear. It would
There's
make sense if they're calling it a cryptocurrency or a digital or asset-backed digital currency, that it is going to be a blockchain or some form thereof. Because to date we have all these different ones. Bitcoin came on the scene, then you had Litecoin, you had Digibyte, you had these other things happening that came on the scene. Eventually you had Ethereum. Everyone was different. Everyone had different things. Everyone did different things. Everyone was et cetera, et cetera. I say all that because these guys probably found maybe a new way to do this. And that would be fantastic to see how that happens. I say all of that to say this. Looking into mining, I don't look at what the miners can do. I look at how much energy consumption I can absorb. The reason I say that is because when you look at the energy production globally, from what we have, whether it's natural gas, coal, whatever, hydro, solar, nuclear, they're all variously different. And I say these things because some of them, so let's take nuclear for example. It's either on or off. Until recently, they've used approximately, the grid has used approximately 40% of what we produce in the US at least. And the rest of it was burned to nothing, oblivion, because we had natural gas, coal, and things like that, hydro, solar. If you talked to any one of them now, there are local ones here to me that are taking one of their cores and they're strapping on a mine to it, and it will monetize and pay back the entire build of that stupid reactor. The whole plant will be refunded within a few years' time, just from strapping on a mine. Now we're talking $300 million worth of equipment, let alone, that's just the mining equipment. That's not the facilities. That's not the copper, the wiring. That's not the transformers. That's just the daggone miners to be able to consume that kind of energy. The reason I say that is because that's a major amount of energy. You know, about 266 watts. Again, our special friend could do the math in his head, but you think about these cores, they're doing, several hundred megawatts. A single megawatt mine, I mean, that a megawatt powers 300 houses in an hour for an hour. A megawatt hour is 300 houses approximately. That's not a little joke. So you're sitting here saying oil to solar ratio, like 266 watts. Like, yeah, that's a quarter of a megawatt, I think. For my calculations, are approximately a quarter. Is a megawatt, I think, is 1,000 watts.
And that's where, that's out of my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Anyways, so this is approximately a quarter of a megawatt. That's very interesting. One barrel of oil.
One barrel of oil.
And our special friend will probably be sitting here going, "Nope, it's this. He's probably laughing at me right now." Anyways, I love you, buddy. We need to talk soon.
Yeah. So it's very fascinating that I was like, that. And so all of these U.S. debt clock little breadcrumbs, if you will, about the whole Ponzi scheme and getting back to sound money and the gold standard, and with the M1 going on, or the World Sovereign Bank, and really getting back to the original hospitalers when they talk about in those resolutions about the false Knights of Malta, the false, how they were pretend, and all of the illusion that went around it. And it really is going to be challenging for people to wrap their head around that what they know is going to be gone.
That's the thing. My whole MO has been anything that comes in, don't leave it in the dollar. Because whatever comes next, which I think this is it. what we found, I think, is it.
Mhm.
If it's not them, it'll be very similar, right?
There was something
It will
somewhere.
translate. If you have gold, silver, it'll translate to that. If you have, in my mind, Bitcoin, crypto, Bitcoin is freedom for humanity because of the blockchain tech. To me, you could take blockchain and do all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be money. It can be. That's the first. That's way I've said it on the other show before YouTube shut me down. On the other side was Bitcoin was a one-trick pony. You had
Mhm.
Polygon and Divi and all these other things that were like multi-use blockchains for various different actual real-world use cases. Yes, there's a monetary aspect to it because it's stock that you can spend. It's, you get a return off of your investment by funding and supporting the project you're interested in, kind of like a company, except it's
Mhm.
very different because it's a blockchain and it is a cryptocurrency. Sorry.
No, I was
Say all
looking.
those things.
Mhm.
I was gonna say I say all those things mainly because the monetary side of this can change and flip and whatever. For me, it's always been don't trust the dollar and don't trust the banks, and make sure that whatever you're sitting in is the most likely to be translated into what comes next. And then it is what it is at that point.
Yeah, I'm just looking for. There was something
You,
I saw something somewhere about what was on the Roskazana site, but something about the staking that you were going to be able to stake the gold.
that was something I showed you earlier.
No, was it?
Yes, that was tied to what we talked about before, which we're not going to disclose here.
No, that's okay. Because I'm losing track of
No,
everything
no,
what I've been
you'll
reading.
be able
Okay, yep,
to.
yep, yep. Sorry. I've been on too many other Russian sites, and with the gold and the XAU and then what they're doing for depositing, I got everything. I was
So
like,
I'm gonna have some conversations, and I'm gonna find some things out, and I'm wondering if we'll talk about that out the way
mhm.
after the show.
Yeah, so basically we're seeing that the World Sovereign Bank is doing what it can to protect right humanity from the parasitic system, which they talk about. They also have some new videos on their YouTube channel. Okay. And there's also, of course, the raw video. So you can go there.
Which we pulled up earlier, which is on their
Mhm.
website, which is totally new thing, which is covered in actually it was a resolution, or was it one of the other documents? It's in the document. Y'all go
Mhm.
study the
Yes.
documents. Study the documents. If for
So
nothing
they're
else,
going to
if
give
for everyone and
everyone
download them.
exactly a way out. Now, please read. This is by no means Nasara Agasara, Jasara, however you want to say it. Read the documents. They're going to really help bring all this into light. And just for the love of Pete, turn off the TV.
Please go get on Twitter. I'm sorry, X. Y'all, people blame it on being an echo chamber and whatever. It's no, it's not, because they're literally taking things and saying, "Yep, nope, this is the truth about that subject, whatever it is." Did you lose me again?
No,
Okay. Go look at that stuff. I just lost my train of thought. See, I connect dots and I go a million miles a minute, and all of a sudden it just gone.
Oh, no more dentist for you.
It's not, no, I don't know. I've got to get my wisdom teeth taken out at some point. And
Oh, ew.
yeah, mine aren't horizontal. I'm sorry, mine aren't vertical. They're horizontal. So if they come in, they're gonna kill the other teeth. It's like Anyways, yeah, that was a fun visit. Anyhow, I'm sorry. I'm too much
So,
TMI for people. Sorry, you don't need to know that about Papa Joe. Anyhow,
well, hey, it's real. We just keep it real here, folks. So,
yeah,
You
It's
know
no,
what?
it's off the cuff a lot of the time, y'all. I don't edit this stuff. We're real people. We're not
Yeah.
this stupid flashy stuff. You have a conversation. I thought about doing a spaces and having you up there and whatnot. I was trying to say get on X. Follow my account and
Okay.
we'll get Sharon to get on there to get an account. You guys can follow her and she can start doing stuff.
Like,
No,
okay, I'll get on
seriously.
there. All right. I'll
Seriously,
just
like no, like the whole like the news dropped about Evergrande. It was instantaneous. People knew what was going on. Instantaneous. There was no doubt what was happening. There are people who are watching the stock live, and as it hits, it's like tank. It's like anyways, you just gotta understand, like it is like our 17th friend made a comment. We are the news now. We literally are now. And he says X marks the spot. Where'd that come from? That was our 17th friend. It's X now. Marks the spot to be. Anyhow,
I'll get
get
myself
on
over
there.
there. It's like I got so much to navigate.
It's not really it's not as hard as you think. It's
Okay.
actually extremely easy.
Well, we'll have a conversation about that then, and
We
then
should.
I can be over there, and then I can kind of respond. Okay, so I have my healing arts clinic I have to run. Of course, now I've got my horses that I train, teach riding lessons, blah blah
Yep.
blah, all that
Yep.
stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
Yep. Which
and
that's
then to follow
fantastic
this
though.
stuff.
I mean, yes, it's a lot. It's a lot. Well, we're kind
Oh
of
my
both
gosh.
in the same sort of boat. Like,
Yeah.
we only get to record once a week, if that, mainly because like I work full time. I have my this business, right? And that's starting to pick up with certain things. And I've got I did have the two shows. YouTube said, screw you and the other. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to pour the effort into this because this is way more important. There's enough people out there talking about the other stuff. I got said my piece, so to speak, when the other influencers about things. I don't really care. I'm an earlier minor. They were sitting there, do this, Queen. This. I was like, y'all are literally throwing people under the bus for your own benefit. Like that. How dare you? Like,
That
come on.
is sick.
That's not what this is about. This is not what this is about. Anyways, I'm gonna leave that alone. Not all of them are that way. A lot of them are like, hey, did you see this? Please pay attention to this. They're legit amazing people. There are some out there though that like, come on, seriously. Anyway, and that's kind of where I was going at from that standpoint. This stuff is way more important. This stuff is way more important.
This is going to
People aren't
help
aware of
people.
this stuff.
Yeah.
You're right. That's where I'm like, I have the time to do this. I can put the effort here. Yes, I know it's behind a paywall, and I'm grateful for every one of you that are part of this. The only reason that's there is because I've had to rework the plumbing. Y'all, I had to rework the plumbing almost once a month and make sure that stuff's up. I'm not kidding. It's
Yeah,
stupid.
they nuked us a couple times.
Every time I've gone in there and tried to I've tried to do the Rumble thing and all this other stuff, it doesn't tie into the software I'm using here, and this makes it to where I can just do it. So y'all have been fantastic being patient. I think things are staying up on X. Nothing's coming down. Maybe we'll just do X, and maybe we can just stream there. And maybe we can figure out. That's the thing. I gotta get you all over to X. If you guys can go get over on X, then I don't need the paywall. I don't need this information just needs to be free for everybody. It just does.
Yeah. And
Because
it'll
it's
get
important.
there.
It's that important.
Yeah. So I know that there were some questions about the Iraqi dinar. There's
Let's go
a
ahead and cover that real quick.
lot okay, that is a very complex situation because of how they have to pull the fiat out of the system, and they're going to do this in multiple avenues because they're taking the global fiat currencies out of play. And so James Rickards wrote this in some of his books.
Jim Rickards?
James Rickard. Jim Rickards. The
Yeah, he
Death
was
of Money and Currency
Yeah.
Wars.
He was covered in The Big Short and his involvement in that.
His
And
two
everything
books.
that happened. Yeah. He knows what's up, and he's not far off from what we're talking about here. He does know what he's talking about, like really.
Yeah, and so I've got both of his books, and they were published a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so
he fell off the face of the earth until recently.
There was reasons for that. So he's spot on with how all of this is really, you just got to kind of read between the lines sometimes, and that how these systems are going to slowly kind of just work themselves out. Okay. And then I tell y'all, just start digging into the sci-fi series Fringe. But back to the Iraqi dinar, because people are like, well, how is this going to help people? Okay. So first of all,
That's going to help you as U.S. citizens because of your purchasing power of the dollar and the amount you can obtain right now. I can go take $1,000 and you get what, 1.8 million, 1.3. I think it already started going. They started inverting.
did they? Yeah. So you can just go. You're going to sit on it. The thing is what I work with people, and when they say they come in, they're like, well, how is this going to help people? And I look at them like, we're going to drill down on this. What people? Well, people. No. What people are you talking about?
Specifically, right.
Exactly. Yeah. So everybody, a lot of, not everyone, that's a universal qualifier, we call that. It's getting very broad. Well, people, no, we're going to drill down. What are you concerned about? What people? Who? What people? Okay. Because you can't go out into like, oh, how is this going to help the world? I don't know. How is it going to help the world? Okay, we're getting too big. The kingdom of heaven is within you, and he that is within you is greater than he that's in the world. So when
that's
you're
referring to the devil, by the way, the God's inside of you, and he's greater in you than devil. This is his prison.
So when you're out there, oh, the world, no, right here. We're always being directed right in here. So what people, what, where?
It's awesome. One of the elders at my church says that same phrase. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. He says it all the time. It's like, there's so much power to realize that. Like, please understand that, y'all. There's so much power in that.
So when you look at what is, and people, first of all, fear not, for I am with you. I am the great I am.
Psalms 139 or 136. Psalms
all right.
talks about,
well, where do I put my money? Oh, I don't know. Where do you want to put your money? Well, what's safe? Well, first of all, safe from whom or what?
Yep.
Oh, so I can't define.
There's always a risk of some sort.
And what do you determine as risk? What's a risk for you may not be a risk for me.
Yeah, so if you have what's this? There's a little security thing. It's FAFFO. Fuck around and find out.
Oh yeah, FAFO.
There's a little security thing that does that. FAFO.
So you have to go within yourself.
Yep.
And see if what you are doing feels right. Is it congruent for you in where you're at in that moment? Is it congruent maybe for your family? And it's to think about, oh, well, I don't know what to do. Okay, well, you don't know what to do. That's okay. It's okay not to know. You don't know what you don't know. Right. It's okay. And if you don't know what to do, sometimes that's that still small voice going, would you just sit still for a little bit?
And listen to what I have to say.
There we
go.
Don't
say anything. Don't think anything. Just listen.
Yeah. So we're at time.
We're at time. I gotta pull it because if we keep going, then
it's not gonna like us.
I can't post it.
Yeah, we can cut out that one chunk.
Guys and gals, love you for being part of this. This has been
huge. You.
Y'all are here. Really, really love it that you're always watching this. Like, we're getting more and more folks interested in this information, and I really think that it's everything about this is providential. The fact that we found this, the fact that Sharon had the document, we started reading, and I just kind of what I'm doing today. I was trying to figure out what connecting things. Something's going, and I still think there's a connection there. I'm just
because they listed those three things. Whenever they do stuff in threes, I'm with you. There is much more to that whole story right there.
Right. And that's kind of why I was trying to figure out real quick. And it's not the fact that I was able to quickly on the fly find this stuff when she was reading the document, that doesn't normally happen. It takes me some time. Maybe next time I'll have some more information around that. But I think there's a connection there, and it's probably a deeper, some sort of subsidiary that I got to find that's connecting those together. And if that is the case, then there's gonna be some stuff that y'all really need to be ready for. Ready. If you're not, it's not gonna be good. But I say all that being because thanks for being here, y'all. At the end of the day, we're doing this for y'all. We want you guys to find this information, read this information, go and look. We got the Telegram channel. Go jump in there, ask questions. We try it. I don't post a whole lot in there. Y'all are having
We try to get in there, so y'all are having a good old time. Sometimes I'll jump in, but it's kind of we're a little crazy busy.
Like I said earlier, she's doing all these things. I'm doing all these things. Like this is like the block we have is like, oh my goodness. And it's live, and I'm not editing this. I just won't. Y'all enjoy it, have fun with it. It's like we're having a good old, I finished my
we're real
evening thing. Yeah, we're real people. We're not screwing around. Like I said earlier, the reason. Anyways,
all right.
I'll be blessed. Okay, we'll talk
All
to you soon. I'll be right back. Okay.
All right. Good night.
Good night. This one. Yep.